This is a story of three peeps who all died and made the fans weep. But I'm here to tell you that there was an actual reason why they died. Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake of the OneManBand is back again, and welcome to a RWBY analysis video. Now, we are indeed in the off-season of RWBY. So, it's now that we have to look back at what happened in the previous volume and think about theories. And one of the big things I think that needs to be discussed about this volume is, of course, the character deaths. Now, although against popular belief, these deaths weren't done out of spite or to just mess with the fandom like all the memes out there suggest. These deaths were actually meant to push the plot forward and to actually show what the series is going to move into and become. Now, I already know that a lot of people have already discussed this kind of thing where it's like, we understand why people like Penny, Pyrrha, and Torchwick had to die, but I'm gonna throw my hat in, quite literally. Only I'm not gonna take my hat off because, it's my hat and I like to wear it. See, the main reason why these deaths are so important in the series is because we know that nothing is done simply to just do it. Nothing's done by accident. Everything is planned according to a specific storyline that Monty was thinking about, and now Carrie and Miles are trying to get that story across. The deaths are meant to show that it's gonna be a shift in tone now for the series, but I think we should break down each death individually. So let's start with Penny. Now, out of every member of the cast of RWBY, probably maybe excluding Ruby, Penny was the most innocent of all the characters. She was probably the most pure one, if you will, because we don't even really know how long she had been alive. And remember, with the intro music of Volume 2, one of the lines is, "Now it's time to say goodbye to the things we loved and the innocence of youth." This right here, the death of Penny, is almost symbolizing that innocence dying, because she was pretty much innocence incarnated, if you will. Plus, it doesn't help that she was something so brilliant and so amazing that she was almost for certain going to be some form of catalyst for a disaster. I mean, she was a robot who had a soul. And as soon as I saw that in the series, I kind of had an idea in the back of my mind that something bad was gonna happen to her. Because if you put a soul into a machine, people will either think it's an abomination and try to destroy it, or use it as a catalyst to turn people against it, or against each other, which was exactly the reason why she was used by Cinder. With Penny's death, not only did she show that the Atlas military was developing robots that were similar to humans, but were also meant to look like little girls, and was meant to show that Ozpin's students are dangerous, and the way he's teaching them is dangerous. Unfortunately, Penny just got the short stick in this volume. In the series, really. Penny was always meant to be a tragic character, although she was one of the peppiest ones out there. And although it's sad that she's gone, the reasons why she died and what came out of it, I think, are brilliant. Alright, let's talk about Roman now. So, what can really be said about Roman Torchwick, except that he was freaking awesome? He was the series' first villain, really the first person that we ever saw in the series, excluding the trailers. But you see, since he was the series' first villain, he really wasn't meant to be taken all that seriously and really stick around that long. If you look at really any anime, many of the villains that were there in the very first episodes are either killed off really easily or just kind of disappear into the background. because as the characters grow, that villain is really no longer a threat. Now, they did indeed make Torchwick a threat throughout all 3 volumes. He was either developing plans, doing robberies, or actually fighting and actually putting up a good fight. But unfortunately, he kind of drew the short end of the stick as well on the realm of villains. See, the thing is, Roman was really the only beloved villain that we cared for. Up until the point where he died, all the other villains were either a part of some malicious plot to bring down Yang, Mercury, or had a hand in killing someone, Cinder and Emerald. While Roman, what did he really do wrong? He stole a train, blew up some tunnels, stole some dust, fought Ruby and Blake. That's pretty much it. He never really actually killed anybody. He didn't have much love for Faunus, but that really isn't that as bad as flat out killing someone. You see, it goes back once again to the whole innocence thing. Torchwick represented a form of, I don't want to say innocent evil, but sort of the evil that we depict when we think of just an average bad guy. Oh, they just do bad things. But we don't think a villain as like, somebody who goes out and just brutally murders people. He was a villain who was meant to segue much bigger and more dangerous villains into the series. Roman Torchwick, he was meant to be the first villain that not only would we become attached to, but we could eventually let go of, because he wasn't as much as a threat as the other villains. And you see, since Roman was the main antagonist of pretty much the first 2 volumes, I would say. I mean, he kind of shared the spotlight with Cinder in the 2nd volume, and then he was barely in the 3rd volume, but he represented that innocent time in the series. That innocent time. He was the innocent time villain. And now that the series is shifting, it's going to become darker and more mature. Once again, that innocence had to die, if you will. And so they had to get rid of Roman Torchwick in some way. And hey, if Torchwick's death leads the series to maturing and growing, then unfortunately I gotta accept it. Although I love the guy, he will always remain in my heart as one of the most beloved villains of all time. And last, but certainly not least, let's talk about Pyrrha's death. Pyrrha's death was definitely the one that probably hit us the most. No, she wasn't as innocent as Penny or as villainously beloved as Roman, but Pyrrha represented something great, something amazing. She was the character who was the ultimate fighter and pretty much the flustered girl who was falling head over heels for a guy. And it wasn't until the end of Volume 3 that she finally went out and actually, kissed John, and they had that moment. And it's then that we knew that her death was gonna hit the hardest, because she had finally gotten almost everything that she wanted. You see, with the death of Pyrrha, the series creators are pretty much showing that these villains are not meant to be trifled with. They are flat serious. And even though you could be thinking that, well, we already knew that since they offed Amber and killed Penny and all that stuff, but did we really? I mean, Penny and Amber, secondary characters. Even though they were loved, they weren't just, we didn't go through a journey with them. The members of Team RWBY and Team Juniper, we have gone through these 3 volumes with them, and we feel attached to them. You see, killing Pyrrha showed that the main 8, if you will, are killable. They are vulnerable. They can die if the plot calls for it. And not only can they die, but the strongest of them all can die. Not only that, but we also had to have more conviction and hatred towards Cinder. I mean, really, Cinder had a hand in killing Penny. Yes, but I mostly blame that on Emerald because she did the mind screw up thing on Pyrrha. Cinder killed Amber. Yeah, I mean, that's sad and all, and I'm scared that she got the full maiden power, but she hadn't really killed anyone important. Cinder killing Pyrrha shows us that this villain will stop at nothing from getting what she wants. And I think through the death of Pyrrha, we're supposed to have some form of just respect and fear for Cinder now, because she is that person who killed Pyrrha. So not only do we fear her, but we also have a form of hatred towards her. So we want her to be taken down. We want to root even more for Team RWBY and Team Juniper. And probably the most important factor of Pyrrha's death is that it is the final straw on the camel's back that activates RWBY. And we see that RWBY has this hidden power of the Silver-Eyed Warriors hidden inside of her. And it shows that this power may even be more powerful than the Seasonal Maidens. But that's a topic for another video. You see, in anime, and in any show really in general, death isn't a bad thing. Death is a natural part of life. Do not mourn for those who transfer into the Force. The concept of dying isn't a bad thing. The only bad thing that can come out of that is dying for no reason. And you see, all of these characters did not die for no reason. They either died for pivotal plot points in the volume, or they died to help us develop as fans of the series. So although now pretty much anyone's head is on the chopping block next, we will be ready for it, and we will then see that there is reason behind people's deaths now. And now we have to figure out what those reasons will be when they finally come across. Hey everybody, end of the video here. I know it's probably a real short one compared to what you guys are used to and expect, but hey, it was just something that I kind of wanted to talk about with you guys, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you think I'm kind of on the ball with the reasons why I think these characters died, or do you think I'm totally wrong? Be sure to leave those comments down below, and be sure to like and favorite if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you feel inclined to. Be sure to check out my Facebook group, Team Theory, if you have a crackpot theory, or just want to talk about RWBY with like-minded people. Also, if you want, you can check out my Patreon page, and if you wish to support me, you can. I want to send big thanks to Kyle Schultz, Grant Allen Hill, and Duncan Ishler for helping me out on Patreon. You guys are awesome. And hey, if you also want to be part of a RWBY fan group but aren't really that into Facebook, check out this Google Plus fan group. Pretty cool. And it's the off season of RWBY, so these episodes are gonna probably be more sporadic, maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. So I hope you guys understand that, and I'm looking forward to making more videos. So I'll see you guys next time I'm out there in YouTube land. Be a good person, tip your waitresses, keep moving forward, and I'll see you next time. Hang tough, everybody. Yeah!